Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome, my fellow Virgos. Um, this is going to be your October reading. October. Not. I actually love the month of October. But anyways, this is going to be for Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising. Definitely for those intuitively guided. Some of you may be in love with a Virgo. Many of you know I have a Virgo Sun. My boyfriend has a Virgo Sun and Moon. Deep, very deep. Virgo Moon, deep. Um, I have a Gemini Moon. So we kind of balance each other out in a way. Um, but this is really, these readings are about life, all aspects of life, love, money, career, family, whatever our guides want us to hear. I'm open, right? I am the vessel. I am the messenger. Um, so Virgo, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the major arcanas for our special messages. I just have to call them special messages now because I feel like they always blow us away. They blow me away. And I've been reading tarot for so long that I really feel like the day that my mind is no longer blown away, it may be time to hang it up. I don't think that day's ever going to come. And it's not just the tarot, it's how our spirit guides work. I'll give you just a very quick example. And hope the person doesn't mind, but it was a comment that someone left. I was doing a reading and I saw a pink flamingo on one of the cards, and I held it up to the monitor and I said, a pink flamingo. Why haven't I never noticed this before? And then I said, I wonder what that means, a pink flamingo. And all I could think of was Florida for some reason. Um, but it turned out that this person had asked their spirit guides, which I tell you to do all the time, ask your guides to send you signs of confirmation. And what she chose was pink flamingo. I mean, can you believe that? I believe it. And I want to say something else. Another um, reading I was doing, I kept getting I don't know whether to say the name or not, but I don't think she'll mind. I kept getting Anastasia, and it was just strange how it kept coming to me, and I thought, I wonder if that's one of my spirit guides' names. And then under that video, Anastasia shows up. She's like, that's my name. So this is how our readings go. This is why I love reading tarot. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. Um, so why I'm telling you this is I want you to feel very comfortable in asking your guides to give you signs of confirmation throughout the reading. You definitely want to trust your own intuition. Go into it with an open heart, an open mind. Um, because I'm telling you, our guides will blow us away. It's on my table. All right. So, anyways, Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising. Definitely those intuitively guided. Some of you are in love with a Virgo. You know what I always say? Good luck. And that's just because I know Virgo's energy so well. Virgo can be slow to commit, but I find once Virgo commits, and this is just not within my relationship, this is through like a lot of personal readings I've done. Once they make that commitment, it's usually for a lifetime. So that's what I love about Virgo. It's very loyal. But I know not everyone, and sometimes it takes people time to grow into that energy. So, anyways, we're going to use we're going to use the major arcanas for a special message. I'm going to use the crystal vision. thanks to Christina, this deck has been out more than it's ever been out. We'll use those for clarifiers. I am going to use the Psychic Tarot, which I don't use for you very often, but it was the deck that called to me for you, for us. I'm also Virgo. Um, and then a new deck that I got, a new company. It's called, I forget the name, Mindful Soul, I think. But they sent me this box. It's called a mystery box. And I actually did a promotional video for them. I just haven't gotten the green light from them to release it yet. But once I do, I'm going to, well, you'll see because the video's already done, like everything they sent. And they're offering 50% off to you guys. So I'm not trying to sell anything. But this was a deck that they sent me. Actually, this is it right here. So yeah, it is Mindful Souls. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to break them in our reading. Um, and I think we should just go ahead and get started. So again, open mind, open heart, open vessel. Whatever spirit wants us to know, I'm willing to be the messenger. So I am going to start with an affirmation card though. I'm going to give them a shuffle. And many of you know I do pre-shuffle all my decks for quite a while before I started reading. Just where I'm meditating on your sign. I'm letting our guides know that I am ready. Let's give them a cut. And you are the first one. Interesting because there's different colors, but yet the way I cut it. Okay. Well, there's your card. So, think I'm running out of room. I'm like, where am I going to put it? Let's put it over there. All right. Attract healing energy. I bring good vibes into my life by letting go of toxic thoughts and caring for myself with, I can barely read that, with habits that positively connect my mind, body, and spirit. And then each card has a challenge. It's called Today's Challenge. Take a few minutes to do something that makes you feel peaceful and happy. That's what they look like. So we'll put that right there. I'm not going to get rid of Mother Mary. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to bring Mother Mary out at the end of the reading. But I wanted to definitely use this new deck in your reading. So let's go ahead and give the Psychic Tarot a shuffle. But some of you are going to find, like I did Libra and Scorpio so far, and I did a Celtic cross with them. But something is telling me to do more freestyle with you. So that's what I'm going to do. So we have those cut. All right. Let's go ahead and start with the major arcanas. Let's see what they want to tell us. I want to say for the month of October, but then again, time is fluid. The reading will be put before you probably right when you need it. I feel like that's how our guides work. Right when you need it, somehow, some way, it'll come across your feed. All right. My guides are like, stop talking. Stop talking, Sandy. The devil. Card of Capricorn. The Fool. A new beginning. Interesting. I just did a poem. And I called it I called it a fool's poem. So I don't know. Interesting that the fool just came up. And then we have the strength card, card of Leo. So let's talk about this for a second. The devil, if it's not Capricorn for you, the devil talks about temptations, things that we've been tempted to, which makes total sense with the strength card mirroring it. Because the strength card is all about our inner selves. I often relate to it like our inner demons, but these are the things that we can work out. These are the things we definitely have to know about ourselves, like really getting to know oneself. Look how she's become one with the beast, so to speak, the king of the jungle. But there she is just cuddling with it. But here's the thing. I definitely feel like this is saying that there could have been some energy where you felt tempted to um, in the past. And I do feel this is in the past because I feel like you've overcome. And the fool, I feel like, is representing you getting ready to take a leap of faith. So that means something new is opening up for you. The fool, it's such beautiful energy. Uh, the fool has learned to put the past in the past. And the only way you can really do that is through reflection. You know, this is this is hopefully soon I won't have to say this anymore, but we are in the universal year 9 in our major arcana, the Hermit. So reflection, it's everything this year. But it is truly getting us ready for the magician's energy in 2026. So I feel like many of you, it seems like you're ready because the fool lives in the present moment. The fool's ready for an adventure, whatever it may be. And another great thing about the fool doesn't think about like, where is the ultimate destination? I just want to go on this adventure. That little knapsack that he carries? That's your wisdom. That's the wisdom of your experiences, which now, well, let's look at the strength card, right? When we really get to know all parts of ourselves, it's courage, courage that you have forever, eternity. Look at the infinity goggles. As above, so below, no beginning, no end. That is definitely your soul or your spirit. Spirit is the intellect to the soul. So I feel like, actually, I feel like taking another card for some reason. Because I feel like some of you have really overcome something probably quite difficult. Interesting that we get our major arcana, the Hermit. So, reflection. And when I say that I feel like some of you have gone through something, oftentimes in the Hermit's energy, someone is brought down to their knees. Something happens. It's like, what the hell? Like, but sometimes it's being brought down to our knees that makes us start to seek the light. And that's exactly what the Hermit is seeking, the light. I feel like the Hermit is a wise old soul. Like, this is not my first time. This is not my first time around the wheel. And the ability to extract that wisdom of even past lives. So, and I kind of love that the Hermit has his back to the devil because the Hermit is looking towards the future and he's sharing his beacon of light outwardly. That means what I have learned, I now want to share with you. How I have grown, I now want to help you. You know what I mean? Like, I want to help my fellow man and woman to not maybe have to go through what I went through. I know many of you are natural healers. I just know that. I feel like Virgo is a very psychic sign. I know I am. But listen, it did not happen overnight. The first half of my life, I didn't think about my spirituality at all. I was busy raising my family, working my job, you know what I mean? But now, this part of my life, the second half of my life, all about my spirituality. And, I'm a master number 11, and that's exactly what a master number 11 is here to master spirituality. So, I just feel like whatever you've gone through, I feel like many of you have definitely reflected upon it. You're understanding your part in it. And, I feel like that's an important component because once we understand, like, okay, is it me that keeps getting drawn to like lower vibrational energy? And if so, why? I often feel like it's because I may not think I'm worthy, or someone has put these ideas in my head, these thoughts in my head, but that doesn't make them true. Just because someone tells you, even our own thoughts can lie to us. Our spiritual wisdom, though, will know the difference. So I kind of love that the Hermit just came out. All right, we're going to slide these up here because we're going to keep them in the reading and build upon them. So again, here's the Hermit shining his light outwardly. That means I'm ready to help heal. I'm ready to help where I can help. All right, and the Fool. There's a new beginning. Something new is happening. There's a new adventure. Feels like it's right around the corner. So let's go ahead and bring in the Psychic Tarot. Attract healing energy. That's what the Hermit does. Give him a cut. I hope you guys will be okay that I didn't do the Celtic Cross with you. And really, the reason why I was doing the Celtic Cross, I just wanted to introduce it to those who want to learn tarot. I feel like it's a good spread that you can use on yourself. But to use it for the collective, I don't know. I mean, I loved the readings that I did with them, but something was telling me, no, you got to freestyle with Virgo. You got to freestyle it. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, let's begin. I mean, we've already begun. I got to stop saying that. We have the Eight of Cups, emotional withdrawal. Well, that kind of relates right back to the Strength card. And just look at the image. I know some of you don't watch the readings, you listen. Well, this person is sitting at the water's edge and they're in a very, I don't know, I feel like a Zen position. Maybe they're praying. But really, what I feel like they're doing is they're letting the tides wash their worries away. Eight of Cups means, there could have been some emotional turmoil. For some, you might want to ask yourself, like, have you been attracted to, like the bad boy, the bad girl? But I feel like that's their choice. You know what I mean? Like, that's how they choose to live. But I get the sense that you don't. And listen, I remember the days that I was attracted to the bad boy. And it didn't get me far. Matter of fact, it probably hurt more than helped. But anyway, so this is an 8. So this is also about a new beginning. But it is releasing the past. Just as the hermit would ask you, you can reflect, let's say, the last 9 years, because we're closing this 9-year cycle. You can reflect upon your whole life and really find patterns. Virgo, that is what you're good at. Finding those patterns, finding those repeat, what is it why do I keep getting drawn to the same thing? It does feel like it's something within. All of a sudden I'm getting this message that for some of you, it's the way you grew up. It was like a lack of emotions. Or, yeah, I feel lack of emotions. I feel what I'm feeling is, nobody told me I was worthy. Nobody told me, that I could be anything I wanted to be. I feel like where I grew up, emotions just didn't flow. And for some of you, it could have been rough because I get this feeling almost like, I know this energy. I can't say that it's for me because I had a father that was very loving. My mother, it's not that she wasn't loving, she just didn't use those words. She didn't use those terms of endearment, but she didn't really build me up. My dad did. But I feel for some, you may have had neither. And, it's almost like sending you out into the world with a blindfold and saying, go find your way. I can't see. Okay. I feel like that is not for everyone, but definitely for a few. I also feel like this is representing the healing powers of water, nature. It reminds me when I lived in Rhode Island, I lived right by the beach, and I used to go all the time by myself, like after the crowd left, and just sit there. I mean, I did a lot of things. I'd read books, I'd go swimming, go surfing, um, but the times that I went there where no one else was there, it was for reflection. It was to help balance my energy. And not on purpose. Like I didn't go to the beach thinking that, but that's what ended up happening. Okay. We have Triumph, card of Cancer. Number 7. I don't know why that's standing out to me. Someone may have asked for a number 7. There you go. This is about unlimited potential. And how interesting that I just spoke about for some of you, like, you were never told that. You were never told how great you are. You had to figure that out on your own. And because you didn't feel that way, you could have found yourself in some trouble. You know what I mean? But then I feel like you did figure it out. The chariot really requires balance to be all it can be. And the balance is of the feminine and the masculine within ourselves, the light and the dark. Many people say, oh, there's not dark energy, there's not dark spirits. Well, there's light, there's dark. Sometimes we have to fight through that dark, and that's kind of what the hermit does. But I love that this is representing, even if you don't know it yet, your unlimited potential. 3 of Swords, heartache and loss. Well, that would have to tie back here, and in the Eight of Cups. This person in the Eight of Cups, they have had some type of emotional situations that have affected them. And I'm sure it caused the Three of Swords. But this is of the past. This is not what is coming. Well, I guess it depends on your choices, but I don't feel like this is what's coming. I feel like this is what was. And I feel like this is what you're releasing. So I feel proud of you already. All right, let's keep going. Wow, your cards are coming out in blocks. Well, another Virgo card. The Nine of Pentacles. Material harvest. How beautiful. Look at this person's hands. Another symbol of being open. Look how the light is illuminated around him. It's almost like receiving epiphanies, ideas, and he's open to receiving. The Nine of Pentacles, the meaning of the card is successful self-employment. And I do know that many of you have your own business or, your own channel, some business. And the great thing about the Nine of Pentacles is you are the one who reaps the benefit of the Nine of Pentacles. This harvest, it's for you. You. It's also the energy of independence. I know as a Virgo, way back in my life, there was a time when, well, it's when I first got married. And the plan was I was going to stay home and raise the kids. But didn't quite work out so well. So I didn't have independence. I had to count on someone else to supply money. You know what I mean? My ex, which he didn't do very well. So I had to find this independence on my own. And, I don't want to keep saying me because I don't want you to think this reading is about me. It's not. That just reminds me of a song. You're so vain. I bet you think this reading's about you, don't you? Look at that. Virgo. Virgo, Virgo. Some of you may have a Virgo sun, Virgo moon, or Virgo rising. And then, hello, Ace of Pentacles. Prosperity begins. How beautiful is this? Because here you are releasing. Releasing what? Anything that you just can no longer control. If it's outside of your control, let it go. Try to let it go. You have the Chariot right next to it, which is also water. So it definitely feels like you can overcome. But I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say it was easy. But this Ace of Pentacles is now mirroring that 8. So 8, a new beginning. And then the Ace of Pentacles. Well, hello. The Ace of Pentacles is a seed. And it's about nurturing that seed. And if I nurture that seed, it's only going to grow and blossom and throw off new seeds. But I want you to notice something here. There's 2 different hands nurturing the same seed. And I don't feel like it's competition. I feel like two different people. And just the way they're holding each other's hands. And if you add that Ace of Pentacles to the Nine of Pentacles, you'd have the Ten of Pentacles, the House of Abundance, house that takes root. We'll see if we get it. But this is the way the world works, right? The Eight, that final reflection, the Hermit, the spirituality, how I have grown, a spiritual awakening. But remember, that's a process. It's not like an overnight thing. The more you seek the light, the more you'll find the light. If I seek the dark, then I'll probably find dark. Not probably. I will. And one of the things I feel Virgo is really best at, if you're going through something, that caused this heartache and loss, I often feel that the best course, or the best way to overcome, is to refocus your mind. And it looks like you did. And you refocused it on your money, on your career, on building something for yourself. Nine, singular. This is you. This is yours. And I just love that the Hermit's connected to that. Listen, if you have a spiritual business, healing business, really any type of business, but there's something about, it feels like everyone feels grateful after the fact. Don't forget, we have full. We're on to a new adventure. It's starting with this ace. But it feels like, again, I refocused my mind. I poured that energy into myself, my career, and it's showing success. If you haven't found success yet, hang on. Hang on, because I feel like the Fool is going to find it. So the Fool and the Ace of Pentacles together. I love it. And these two nines, the Hermit, and they're both Virgo cards. The Hermit and Material Harvest. I feel like if someone broke your heart, or let's put it a different way, if someone like fed you lies, telling you that you don't have potential, or maybe you had certain like goals in mind, and someone kept shooting them down to the point that you bought that. I don't feel like you're buying it anymore. I feel like many of you are starting to realize how special you really are. There is no one else like you. Remember that. Like God made you and threw away that mold. There is no other you. And also keep in mind that when you came down into this lifetime, you already had a spiritual team assigned to you. And their job is to help guide you, but they can't cross your free will. That's the one thing we got to remember. Like, if there's something within the devil's energy that kept tempting me back to it, well, divine or our spirit guides can't stop me, but they can certainly put a lot of resistance. And sometimes that resistance is your spirit guides trying their best to get you to change that path. Getting you to understand that you do have this strength. You do have this courage. You have this wisdom of many lifetimes. All right, let's keep going. Death card, and that makes complete sense, right? Called transformation in this deck. The death card, it's about closing doors, but it is the promise of a new door always opening, and that's the truth. So I know what door. It's falling right under the Eight of Cups. You're letting go. And the Death card is also about a rebirth. Well, the Fool would be like, bring it on. Bring it on, sister. Okay, keep going. Here's my birthday. So funny how I always see my birthday in our readings. Hello, hope. Hello, my hopes, my dreams, my wishes. How about manifesting them now? Right under the Chariot. Unlimited potential. Listen, I don't feel like you're buying anybody's bullshit anymore. I feel like you are figuring out who you are, the strength that you have, the courage, the wisdom, even the ability to manifest. This is kind of beautiful following the Death card, where the Death card speaks about a rebirth. And then the Chariot, the unlimited potential. It is the card of Aquarius also. I should say that in case there's an Aquarius here, like, hey, look at that, 7, 17. 7 plus 1 is 8. 8. I don't know what's making me think of this all of a sudden, but so I did a contest for those who bought, I hate to say bought, but purchased a personal reading in the month of September. Pulling out one name, who's going to win a free reading, to use down the line, because literally they just got a reading. And I think I might do this, I say it, but then I may do it every month. If I don't do it every month, maybe I'll do it every 3 months. Interesting that 3 is just like jumped off the page to me. That's probably what I'll do. I feel like that's what my guides are saying. Do it every 3 months, Sandy. Otherwise, you'll be completely booked. Too much. So, I don't know what made me bring that up. But, so yeah, I'm going to do that. But now that I said that, I feel like I have to do October. So we'll do October too. All right. Truth. This is judgment. This is your spiritual team. And how beautiful they're coming under this heartache and loss. It's like your spiritual team wants you to know that we've been there with you. We've been walking beside you. When you see judgment, it is calling you to the present moment. So to see the Fool here, it's like you're hearing that calling. This is another energy that speaks about a rebirth. Another way of saying this is when you see judgment in a reading, know that the signs, we're always receiving signs, but the signs may be so clear that you won't be able to deny him. But this is on your behalf. This is nothing to fear. Quite the opposite. This is something to get excited about. I have a feeling it has something to do with that Nine of Pentacles. I mean, that Ace of Pentacles also. Probably the Nine of Pentacles too. And it's coming right next to the star. You know, think about next year. We're moving into the energy of the magician, the manifester. And that's why this year, and that's why I keep saying it, this year of reflection is so important because this is the time to make those decisions of what's got to go, what's getting in my way. You know, who's telling me lies? Who wants to hold me down? And, I want to say and why, but in a way, it doesn't even matter because this is about what's next, what's new. And it's part of your dreams. And then the Ace of Pentacles is like the way. For some of you, that Ace of Pentacles looks like a reward for hard work that you put in. Now, maybe it's just hard work you put in for yourself, like growing your spirituality. When I hear people say that they've had a spiritual awakening, but then they believe lies or what have you, I think, well, you're not quite there yet. You're on your way. Because I don't feel like a spiritual awakening happens like overnight. It's a process. But you're on that road. Twenty two. We talk about partnerships. I feel like there may have been some emotional heartache, but as it relates to your ability to create, I don't feel like that's been touched. Matter of fact, I feel like that's been amplified. I feel like the Ace of Pentacles comes at the right time. Remember who brings in that ace? The Knight of Pentacles, guardian angel energy. Well, your spiritual team is here. Wisdom. This is the Hierophant. Card of Taurus is a 5. So, literally, your spiritual team is asking you to reflect. So interesting when I see this image, this person like looking at this house. And I get the sense like this person's like, have I been here before? It feels like deja vu. I have never said that about this image before. But that's all of a sudden when I'm feeling like it's like deja vu. There may be someone who lives in that house. Look at this little doggy who I feel is your spirit guide. It's almost like it's trying to get you to go to that house. There's something special about that house. Now, I'm calling it a house, but I feel like it's the energy within that house. The Emperor, Heart of Aries. But let me tell you, the Emperor, number one, if this is not you, because this can talk about building of a business. Um, And the Emperor is a natural healer. But that doesn't mean I've always been in that energy. I feel like the Emperor and the Empress both have gone through the trials and tribulations of all the kings and queens. And this is how I arrive at this energy. This is like trusting within yourself. This is someone who is methodical, puts plans in place if need be. Now, if it has anything to do with that house that I feel drawn to, and if this emperor lives in that house, well, this would be someone that I can look up to. That to me is what the emperor represents. Someone who is definitely wise. And it's interesting because I see his pose, and I often feel like he's also your protector. Like he's not going to let anybody cross threshold. Like no one's going to touch that Ace of Pentacles but you, though there are two hands. So who's ever meant to touch it, I feel like the Emperor is protecting that to make sure that it reaches you. I'm feeling different things with the Emperor, and I feel like they're all true. I hope that makes sense. Also, a card of Aries, by the way. I don't know if I said that. What do we have? We have Cancer, Virgo, Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, holy cow, Aries, Leo, Capricorn. I mean, who don't we have? Hello, light. Hello, illuminator. Hello, brand new day. Goodbye, darkness. Goodbye, darkness, my old friend. It's good to be with you again. So, sorry about that. That's so funny. I've had a couple comments like, why do tarot readers sing when they know they sound terrible? Because it just comes out of us. Well, I mean, I can only speak for myself. Sometimes I feel like the song relates back. Well, I know it does to a lot of people. But, anyways, what was I saying? Hello, darkness, my old friend. But this is about the light. And then we have firm foundation. All right, so I'm going to put these here. But let me tell you, when you see the sun in a reading, it's always a good omen. It means that energy is cleared. It means that you feel unencumbered. The chances of you taking this leap of faith that the fool takes feels stronger and stronger. Like, I trust that you will. I want to say something else too. I feel like there could have been a relation, like relationships that were not built on a strong foundation. And therefore, the lightest of winds can blow it over. But now you're looking at things differently. It's like the importance of anything and everything starting with a strong foundation. You're building that foundation. And this person's looking right over at the sun. And I also want you to notice, like, just the muscles. To me, that represents spiritual growth. You have the sun, you have the stars. You have a rebirth smeared by the emperor. You have this emotional withdrawal, but it really is about the letting go of. and then the Ace of Pentacles mirroring it, and then the new door that opens. Nothing to fear. And I love that the foal is right there. I honestly didn't do it on purpose, but I feel like it's like this fool's path will be illuminated. Also having the sun so close to the hope card, the star card, like I feel like there's nothing getting in your way of producing the life that you really want. Now, I do want to say, because I know this is what our spirit team would say, put those intentions out there, definitely. But then let go of exactly how something might show, especially when it relates to love. I find that sometimes our ultimate love is completely different than those that we have loved before. So you feel the difference very quickly. And I do feel like the Emperor, because he's coming under that Ace of Pentacles, and that Ace of Pentacles means that something is coming into your physical world. It is tangible. Again, it may start as a seed, but if you nurture it, oh my God, will it grow? Like I feel that, like, the growth potential. Some of you are finding what you would call your life purpose. I feel like our life purpose is to be kind, to be empathetic and compassionate, but not to be anybody's fool. I feel like our life purpose is simple. If you're walking down the street and you see someone's head like hanging down, looking down, and you could just feel it in your bones that there's something wrong. Like just a simple hello. Hmm. Like I sometimes I think we overthink it, which is a Virgo quality. Um, but once we learn that, then I don't think we overthink it quite as much. All right, let's see who's on the bottom of the deck. Well, hello, Will. Hello, Destiny. Destiny. Look at this. It looks like the different versions of yourself. I'm going to tell you a little story, and please don't judge me for this. But, back in my teenage years, I mean, I was an older teenager. Um, I grew up in the 70s. I was a teenager in the 70s. Um, and a lot of people did LSD. And I did it once. And I remember I was sitting on the edge of my bed. I was actually at a dance, at a rec dance, and I had to leave. And I didn't tell any of my friends. I just left. And I went home and I was sitting on the edge of my bed and I had one of those long mirrors. And I was just looking in the mirror and I kept seeing myself. But yet, every time I saw myself, one time I was a police officer and I would talk to that person, but it was me. Another time I was a doctor. There was like all these different versions of me. Now, when I look back, I think I really did see the different versions of myself and all that I could be, any choice that I chose. So, don't judge me for that. But this just reminded me of that. See what's underneath it. Oh. Deception and envy, well, that's where that heartache come from. But look at the source. This is someone who I just feel like they don't tell the truth. Like, I feel like this is the type of person where they get caught doing something, they'll deny it. Why? Because they don't want to face the consequences. That's the way they think. I'd rather just lie than face the consequences. That's their vibration. That's a lower vibration. And a vibration I don't think you're accepting anymore. This can be someone who cheated. I hate to read it that way, but that is real life. But I have to tell you, the wheel feels like it's moving you away from that. But you had to be part of the process. But anyways, destiny. And then the Fool. I feel like let's get excited. Let's get excited. All right. I just want to look to see if there's any other thing. We're going to bring out the clarifiers, but is there any other messages? So, few energies. Well, really, you have quite a few energies to talk about new beginnings. One, if you allow, right? If I'm willing to let the past go. In the Eight of Cups, I am examining the cups that have been knocked over. But some of those cups were just free will. Like we could call stupid mistakes, but we probably learned from it. If nothing else, you learned what you don't want. And I feel like that's an important lesson to learn. I don't feel like you should beat yourself up in any way because it simply feels like lessons, soul lessons. All right, let's bring out the crystal vision and let's go over this reading. I am so glad I decided to do this free will or freestyle. It just feels right. It just feels right to me. One more shuffle. I didn't quite like that shuffle. Here we go. All right, let's give him a cut. All right. We're going to start at the beginning, but of course, we're going to read it as a whole. Oh my. Oh, what the heck? Ten of Cups. Over the Eight of Cups. Hmm. I feel like, number one, let me say this. I feel like this Ten of Cups will be again. But I also feel that some of you thought that you were going to have the Ten of Cups with someone, but it didn't work out that way. This could be someone who promised you the world, but then showed you nothing. But I know that your guides are saying, it doesn't mean that this is over. It just means that it's over with this person. Look at this, the Four of Wands over the Chariot. This is the marriage card. This is my favorite love card. And I love that it's coming over the Chariot and the Star. So simply when Spirit said, don't think that Ten of Cups, it's over. I mean, it's over with that, with what was. But in a way, thank God. And now that wheel is turning. And this is about making a true commitment. You know, someone else may have just had a hard time of making commitments. And, us as Virgos, we don't like to play around. Like, you either want me or you don't. But that might be something also that we learn through time. I love how this man is putting this woman up what feels like a pedestal on this white horse, pure, truthful. It makes me wonder for some, maybe you've never felt this way. Maybe no one's ever put you on this pedestal. I also feel this sense of making a true commitment to oneself. Saying, I'm going to live a better life. I am going to go after my dreams. And I feel like this is energy that's just going to happen naturally. Because coming over the chariot, and again, the fool was not looking at the ultimate, like, I'm only going to take that leap if I know where it's going to end. No, the fool's like, what adventure's next? And then the world. So, when you see the world, you know that something has come to completion. And a new portal is opening up. It's coming over the Three of Swords. I'll let that go. I'm going to let that be completed. Right? I'm going to allow the new door to open up. This person sits upon a lotus flower, which my understanding is one of the strongest of all plants or flowers. I feel like the lotus flower goes beneath the water in the evening, and when the sun rises, comes back to the surface. Now, I don't know why I'm saying that, other than I feel like you can handle both now. Or you are the lotus flower. The world. The ending of the Three of Swords. The beginning of this new chapter. Yes, the Ten of Cups didn't work out with them. But that doesn't mean, and I already know it, I feel it. And this is what my spirit guides have blessed, well, God has blessed me with. The ability to feel the energy, to know exactly what it means. I do feel it's also it has to come with a decision of, am I going to close that old door? Am I going to say enough is enough? The wheel wants to turn. The Ace of Pentacles is part of your destiny, as is the star. And your spiritual team here to remind you that. Also here to remind you that when you jump into the Fool's energy, when you allow things to come to completion, because that's the way the world works. Not everything is meant to work out forever. But because the Four of Wands is next to it, if it's relating to love at all, then that is the energy that can last forever. Why? Because both people are making a true commitment to each other. It's not just one, right? I'm not like asking this person over and over again, do you love me? Do you not love me? Do you want to be with me? Do you not want to be with me? At this point, it's like, if you want to be with me, then this is what I need. And if you can't give me that, then I'm probably not your person. And you're probably not my person. And that's okay. Let's go find our people. You go do your thing. I'm going to do my thing. You have a lot of major arcanas also, which can certainly signify, changes in more than one area. I love that you have, oh my God, we just got the lovers. How do you like that? The lovers. First of all, this is a card of Gemini, which we share Mercury with. The meaning of this card is a head over heart decision. But the lovers is undeniable chemistry. Just look at them. Look at them. Look at their embrace. Do you think they ever want to let go of each other? I don't. And I love that it's coming over the Nine of Pentacles where you yourself are feeling independent, strong on your own. It's a symbol that you don't really need anyone else to come in and take care of your life. You've got that covered. But to have a partner who can be part of your life, that's different. This tells me that chances are love is going to knock at your door and then you're going to make that decision. Some of you I could see because it feels like you've been building up your independence, building up your money, even your purpose. So that head over heart decision, it makes sense, right? Like, I'm not going to change who I am, nor do I think you should. Hello, lovers. Over such an abundant energy, following the world. So when you see the world, something has come to completion and something else is beginning. Wow. Not only material harvest, but the lovers. The Nine of Wands. Beautiful. Because this is about reflection. You're getting a lot of nines, by the way. So there may be more than one thing that it would benefit you to reflect upon. But this is reflecting upon your life without judgment. This is really, when I see this image, I feel like this person is my spirit warrior because they are bold enough to look back. But what they're really looking at, if you allow yourself, is each one of these wands has been a different adventure, a different experience. And it's about how you have grown, right? What you've overcome. And I get the sense of now I know there's nothing I can't overcome. Again, taking on the energy of the spirit warrior, that final reflection. So it's looking at your life differently instead of looking at it as like, woe is me, or what the hell was I thinking? I'm looking at it like, look at what I've overcome. If it wasn't for these past experiences, I wouldn't be the person I am today. Sometimes in the hermit, we are brought down to our knees. But then we seek that light. And we find that light. This is a beautiful type of reflection. You can even see the lion there, connected also to the strength card, becoming one with it. She's got this flame in her hand. It's like the Ace of Wands. I'm willing to accept this new adventure. And it coming over the Ace of Pentacles, maybe in a way it's required, right? So when this ace shows, you know who you are at this point. This is no longer about other people putting ideas in your head and you buying them. No, you've had too much growth. It is kind of like a reward for the work that you've done on yourself. And the work, I keep trying to find a different word, because yes, I guess it is working on oneself, but it's really seeing how these different experiences have really taught me. Because ultimately, you become the healer of oneself, but also helping others to heal. And who better to heal or to be a healer than someone who has walked in those shoes? Like, I know how you feel because I've been there. It's interesting how your guide said, don't freak out about the Ten of Cups. Um, because it is like I feel like someone who, let's just put it this way, where you thought it was going to be your forever person, but then, you know, well, I feel like you've grown, they didn't. But that was their choice. That's their free will. Those are the things that we cannot control. We can't make someone search for their spirituality. They have to do it on their own. But we certainly don't have to wait around. We have the Five of Swords over the Death card. This is toxicity. It's interesting because Mercury connected right there. Bad communication. Lies that were told that maybe we bought them for a while. But it is a five, so it is about change. And it's coming over an energy of change, transformation, the closing of a door. So I'm letting the toxic energy go. And it's going to be different for, different people. But you can ask yourself, what has been toxic in my life? What has been holding me back? Who has been holding me back? And I just simply feel like you're saying no more. Death card. It's the end. It's the end of that. And it's the beginning of your wishes. This was a wish. But again, we can't control other people. But now, judgment, your spiritual team, it feels like what they're saying is these past, let's say, heartaches, even though, yes, it was so hard to get through, they were there right by your side to help you. All right. There's our Knight of Pentacles right over the star. So the Knight of Pentacles has a few different messages. Patience, And, the patience, well, it can be many different things, actually. I was going to say, um, I forget what I was going to say, actually. But the patience is really about giving something time to come to fruition. But I also feel sometimes it's us. Like, it's when we close the door. It is right next to the death card. And then we allow this new door to open. Well, who shows up? To me, this is your guardian angel. And the second message the night has is I come at the right time. Not before, not after. So this reflection, it's showing us why it was so important. This night is bringing in some type of dream, some type of wish. And I don't feel like it's a one-time thing, because I feel like as we continue to evolve, so does our life. I love that this night just came over the star. And then we have the Hierophant again. You know what I feel like? I feel like this is saying, here's someone who matches your morals. This is someone much more like you. This is someone who, I feel like has a strong belief system. And I'm not really talking about religion, though. I won't leave that off the table. But I do feel that, like, this is the energy where, number one, we question, and we're meant to question. A five wants you to question. Like, am I living life the way that I feel it should be lived? Have I lowered my morals to be with another? And if I have I learned that that doesn't work? That only brings me maybe more heartache. I feel like we need to do the opposite. And because I'm seeing this tremendous growth here, well, anyone who's coming into your life, I feel like it's a necessity that they be, well, that they have morals. Double Taurus on the board, side by side, by the way. Someone may have like a Taurus sun and moon, or a Taurus moon and rising, or different planetary actions. This Hierophant, just look at his hands. It feels like he's about to bless you. Right over Judgment, with the sun right below it and the world right above it. And I feel like there is nothing wrong with expecting someone who comes into your life, whether it be for love or whatever, for whatever reason, that they have high morals, that your morals align. It feels like you've had tremendous growth, and there's no way that your spiritual team would want you to lower your vibration for anyone. There's no need. Like that Seven of Swords we saw earlier. That is their life choice. And they have to deal with those consequences eventually. And eventually they will. You know, they could be making all kinds of bad karma in this lifetime. And I don't want to be part of that, right? Because I don't want to have to come back and repay that karma. That's theirs. Moving on up to the east side. This is moving on. Six of Swords, which is perfect because we have the Five of Swords. Literally, it's like you're moving from the cold to the warmth. Here is the sun. Here is the warmth. But this is the realization. This means that you've had that realization. I know what's been toxic. Even my own thoughts can be toxic. But again, I feel like that's due to other people kind of planting those thoughts. Ah, hello, Ace of Wands. So, attracting healing energy. Hello, Ace of Wands. This is passion ignited. This is action oriented. The flame has been lit. And it feels like a symbol to the universe. This is movement. And by the way, it's coming over the Emperor, but right also under the Ace of Pentacles. So when this Ace of Pentacles comes in, number one, I feel like it's going to ignite some type of passion within you. And then you're going to move forward. If you so choose. But honestly, I feel that that's what you've been doing. You're clearing the past. Wow, all of a sudden the skies just opened up. Ace of Wands is, it's a passion. But it's passion not just for love, it's passion, being passionate in your life. It's taking this Ace of Pentacles and moving forward with it. You're letting go of the toxicity. It's behind you. That makes me feel like the Knight of Pentacles is saying, now this is the right time. And even Judgment, who is calling you to the present moment. Why? Because they want you to know that these opportunities are about to show. All right, let's just take one down here. We have the Queen of Cups. Empathy, compassion, love. Queen of Cups is someone who's really great at love. This is someone who, doesn't have to have love, but definitely appreciates the right partner. I do feel like this is you. And I feel like what this is saying for some of you, this Ace of Wands is activating your heart chakra. This Ace of Pentacles is meant for really whatever you want to use it for. If I want to build up a business, then I feel like I have the opportunity. It's like the more I clear my head from the past and the more I believe in myself, the more divine gives you reasons. I expect good things to happen. And boy, do they. Boy, do they. Hello, Empress. Well, that is definitely you. This is the growth that you've had, and how beautiful that we have the Emperor and the Empress in the same reading. So interesting because we don't see that very often. But lately, I've been getting it a lot. And I've been doing the soulmate readings. I can't remember if you had the Emperor and the Empress in yours, because I think yours might have been the first one I did. So it's kind of not in my memory any longer. But the Empress, loving, nurturing. She is the nurturer, empathetic, compassionate. But she's nobody's fault. I have been there. I have done that. And you take the Empress's energy and you add it to the Hermit's energy. Wow. You want to talk about healing abilities? Number one, doctor, heal thyself. But then anything you want to do, it's interesting. I just did a reading. What I just do, Cancer's soulmate reading. And I was talking about this Empress, how this apple is getting ready to fall from this tree and it's going to hit her in the head. Well, to me, that's a sign of an epiphany that's about to come, an idea. Something like this apple is falling from the tree. That means it's ripe, it's ready. The Empress so creative. Can she create abundance? Probably better than anyone. She believes in herself now. Some of you may be a single mom or a single dad, and that may be changing. That may be changing. Page of Swords underneath that. All right. Interesting, because I don't feel like there's anything I need to clarify. So I think what I'm going to do is let's bring out Mother Mary, and let's let Mother Mary put the cherry on top. Remember, you're attracting healing energy. The Hermit, all about healing energy. I'm telling you, all of a sudden it is pouring outside, just out of nowhere. I wish you could hear it. I love reading when it's raining. I don't know why, but I do. But this computer, for some reason, maybe it's the way I have it set up, you really can't hear the outside. Um, I could move closer to the window, though. Forgiveness. Not easy. Not easy. It's interesting because Sam, my boyfriend, has been going through a rough time, mainly medical, but he's feeling hopeless. And I won't tell him that I'm talking about him. But when I was done with the reading, I went out to reheat my coffee, and he was in the living room crying. And I'm telling you, Sam is a man's man. So for him to cry just broke my heart. So I just hugged him. And I said, "What's wrong?" And just everything was pouring out of him. But he was talking about, he grew up in an Italian family and there was 7 brothers and sisters. And he was the baby. And his older brothers and sisters treated his parents like shit for some reason. And Sam has taken that on. He's taken it on because he felt like he could have fixed it. How could he have fixed it? Right? How could, like, we know that. But in a way, I was glad he was crying because I feel like that will help get it out of him. But something we spoke about, I said, do you think your parents are in heaven right now, mad at you because of your brothers and sisters? Of course not. Of course not. They want you to forgive and then let it go. You were a child. You know what I mean? So this forgiveness, I totally get it. It does say forgiveness, right? Jeez. I totally get it. I mean, I've always gotten it. But it's that weight that we carry that really is not of our own. And letting it go. It doesn't mean you have to pick up a phone. And I feel like it's relating back here. It's not about picking up the phone and saying to someone, hey, by the way, I forgive you. It's the forgiveness within your own heart and the willingness not to carry that burden with you any longer. It's the only way to let it go. Trust me, I've had a lot of forgiveness I've had to give. But it is a lesson that I've learned. Forgiveness. I am willing to release old resentments so that I may enjoy my life. Thank you, Mother Mary. And then I'm going to read this one more time. Attracting healing energy. I bring good vibes into my life by letting go of toxic thoughts and caring for myself with habits that positively connect my my mind, my body, and spirit. And then today's challenge. Take a few minutes to do something that makes you feel peaceful and happy. You know what I'm going to do when I'm done with this reading? I'm going to go find a way to bring this peace and happiness to Sam. So, the newest deck to our family, the Affirmation deck. And Mother Mary, forgiveness. All right, something is telling me to take one more trip around. Okay. Caring. Heaven cares for me, and I keep my heart open to caring about myself, others, and the world. Forgiveness and caring. You know, that's the Empress's energy. And the Emperor's energy. It's both their energies. Heaven cares for me, and I keep my heart open to caring about myself. Notice how you were put first. Myself, others, and the world. Virgo, this feels like the letting go of what was outside of your control anyway. The making a commitment back to you, knowing that anything is possible. Not only do you have judgment, but you also have your guardian angel. And this Knight of Pentacles promises to bring in this Ace of Pentacles. in the right time. Well, it's sitting over or it's sitting under the energy of you reflecting back. And she literally is looking back, but not about judging herself. It's about who I have become. It's looking at your life with a different perspective. Like, without some of these lessons, I may not be as strong as I am today. And some of you may not feel that yet. And this is kind of the roadmap so that you can, because you deserve to feel that way. I feel like this isn't just talking about love, but my God, the love that is showing, the marriage card, or the true commitment card, where it literally, someone is putting you on a pedestal, but of truth, of purity. And then the lovers, the chemistry, right? And it's coming over the Nine of Pentacles, where you yourself are feeling strong within yourself. This Ace of Pentacles and the Wish card, like, I just feel like this is saying, number one, jump into the Fool's energy. Be willing to take that leap. Let go of what is not serving you. Know that your will, destiny is opening up. That's what the world is signifying. What has come to completion in your life? And are you going to allow it to come to completion so that this new door, even judgment talks about rebirth, so that it can take place? I hope so. I hope so. And I'm going to let that be. Man, I'm so glad I chose to do the reading in this way, because I feel like it just makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. Now, your comments will let me know. And I thank you for sharing your comments. I thank you for sharing your story, because I feel like in the comment section, and I know I say this a lot, but I truly believe it. I feel like we can help each other. And I'm going to tell you something, and I've said this before, but I feel like there's people in the comment section that it's almost like I want to introduce you to, but I don't, I feel like, am I crossing a line? Because I feel like in a way, I feel like if they're meant to talk, they'll talk. But I'm telling you, like, I've had men and women who have gone through very similar energies and, like, are on this spiritual journey, and this is what they want. And they're looking for love. Well, I shouldn't say looking. Maybe some are looking. But anyway, I'm going off topic here. I just feel like, I love the comment section. I value each and every comment, even the ones who criticize me. And lately, I don't know, they're coming out of the woodwork for some reason. Like, I always think, like, if you didn't like something, this is just me, but like, if I watch someone else's video, maybe they don't understand the energy that it takes to really do a true reading. It takes all my energy, but I'm happy to do it. And I think if you knew that, you probably wouldn't leave a rude comment, because I think about, like, I've seen readings before where I'm like, So they didn't read that right, but that was just my opinion. But I would never write that. I would never put that under someone's hard work. I just wouldn't do it. I would just leave. Be like, okay, well, that person's not my reader. And I don't know why I'm harping on this. Um, but anyways, can't wait to read your comments. And I really mean that. And listen, since I said that about, you know, some may, like, I see the like-minded energy in the comments. Maybe a simple hello. I don't know. Now I'm getting excited. Like, I have a feeling there's going to be a match. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. I love you guys. I thank you. I loved your reading, except, I want to say except for the hard parts, but I feel like without the hard parts, I don't know, like, like even if I think of my own life, like, I've been through hell and back, but it's really what opened up my spirituality. And it really allows me to look at life with a different perspective now. Not being punished. My soul, I feel like my soul has been here many times. And this may be the last time. I don't know why I feel that, but I do. But anyways, okay, I'm just talking now. This is why I gave myself the name the Rambling Psychic. Um, it was kind of a play on words. But I know I can ramble. Um, but honestly, I feel like what I'm saying means something. So I'm going to be quiet now. I'm going to thank you. Know that I love you. I love you eternally. We are all soul connected, and this is a soul to soul reading. I'll see you next time at our table. I love you. Bye bye.